Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Today I wanted to share what I've been up to in my Fabriano Venezia sketchbook. So I've been getting back into combining watercolour with mixed media because my 6-week course is opening for registration, and that's all about using watercolour with things like pens, pastels, collage, trying out different substrates as well. But I wanted to stick with the sketchbook for a bit and play around with some different designs. And I've actually shared this design, which is in front of me, as part of my free course. So I will leave a link for that in the description if you want to see this process from start to finish and get a little bit of an insight into how I approach my mixed media work. Then make sure you check it out. The course is called Abstract Pattern Play. But today what I wanted to do was share some of my other pages. These are pages that I was doing in preparation for the 6-week course and the free course. I just wanted to get back into this type of work. So you can see the different patterned elements that I often bring in, combined with botanical shapes and a lot of different mixed media. Pastels and things like that, drips. I like to bring in quite an unstructured feel to my paintings. I very much like to express how imperfect life and nature is and how everything flows, and that there are cycles and rhythms that we can't control. So this is another one that I did the other day. Just bringing in a slightly different shape. I've been loving this shape lately. And also I accidentally put a little hint of pink onto this page. It was going to be primarily in the blues. I've been very inspired by blue and white ceramics lately and just really loving blues. But the little pop of pink, I just loved it. So I ended up adding in some other pink elements using paint pen and Neocolor 2. And just bringing in that little extra burst of colour. And I liked it so much, actually, I brought it into this one too. Such a gorgeous little mixtures of colour. That's one of the things I love about watercolour, is that you get such unexpected beauty, and it is about trusting and surrendering to the process. And all of these pages include a combination of watercolour and acrylic ink. One thing that I have been doing lately is using the acrylic ink in areas where I want to add white pen, because I do find that the pen works better over acrylic ink versus over watercolour. So this spread is all in the blues with just a hint of green. I love the richness of colour. I also love how the patterned pen elements look when you sweep colour over the top. So I've brought over some Payne's Grey and I've used a scrapey tool, and I like that effect. This one here I'm going to work on today and add in another motif into this dark section to finish off the page. I have another couple of pages that I want to work on. This one here, I struggled so much with the background for this painting. I was using some of the new watercolour paints that I've shared in recent videos, and I just wasn't really feeling what was happening on the page. So I ended up coming in with some green acrylic paint and chopping in and creating this botanical shape, which I really like. And I love how it just blends quite softly with all this other work. And you've got this beautiful, what's the colour? Quinacridone coral. Gorgeous with the green. So this was a paint over, and I'm loving the look of it. I want to define this botanical a little bit more. But in general, it's a nice different direction from some of the other pages, with a botanical created using acrylic paint rather than using pen. So it's nice to mix it up and try out different materials for the imagery that you bring into your paintings. And I have been repeating this concept quite a bit. Once I get onto something I like, I do like to do it several times. I have been enjoying this Hackier bush design in combination with some of these patterns. But this page, I went a little bit more mixed media than some of the others and brought in more materials. There is some coloured pencils, acrylic paint. There's just a little bit more juice to this spread, and it's always good to check, like, do you like it like this? Do you like it a little more watercolour focused? I love these splatters here. Splatters are one of those things that are quite unpredictable. Sometimes I love them and sometimes I regret doing them, but that's just one of those things with a technique like that. Here you can see a little bit of Neocolor 2. Again, Neocolor 2. It's a nice mixture. I feel like I didn't overdo the acrylic. Sometimes when I bring acrylic in, I just get a bit heavy-handed with it. But with this spread, I'm actually quite liking the softer areas in combination with the acrylic. And I did thin down the acrylic with some water, so that has helped. This is a really bright spread. I don't think I'll be working on this one today. I'll come back to this another time. This page here, which is full of pattern and mark making, is in the free course. So if you do want to have a go at this type of exercise, it's so good for developing your imagery. You can see how I've used many of these patterns in some of my sketchbook paintings. So I come back to this and I refer to it for ideas. Super handy. And then I have this spread here, which is similar but a lot looser and messier. And my plan for this is to come over the top and bring in some pen mark making in certain areas on this page. That's where I'm up to, so I'm going to get started now on a design for this page. I apologise, my voice is still very, very croaky. I'm hoping that I'll get some relief from this cold soon. I'm feeling much better, but I just have that cough and that croaky voice. So as I mentioned, I've been quite inspired by blue and white ceramics. So I'm planning on creating a little design here, almost like a little mandala, but just building out a pattern around a circle, which is something I do quite a bit. And often I don't have a plan for it, I just sort of see where it takes me. So with this one, I can sort of see some rough petal shapes. So I'm going to pick up on this pattern that I've been using for the rest of it and just do something a bit similar. I'm just freehanding petals. And they don't have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination, just nice wonky shapes is always good. And then from here, I can make quite a strong statement by adding in this line work using the white pen. So this is a new approach. I haven't tried this before. I think it's going to work quite well. Probably end up putting something down here too in this spot, maybe a little extra mark making. I often get asked about white pens, and I don't really have the ultimate favourite. For years and years, I used Posca white pens for this, but lately I've been using some gel pens like I am right now. So this is a Sakura Jelly Roll pen. I find that they don't seem to last as long, but when they're brand new, they're really nice. I've been in quite a colourful phase with my art, but I am finding that this blue and white combo is giving me that feeling of colour, but also a bit of a refreshing, not so in your face kind of colour that I like. I don't think I'm ever going to be a super, super vibrant painter, even though I have been pushing in that direction a little bit. I created some super neon artworks not that long ago with bright pops of hot pink and really different style, and I enjoyed it, but I still feel like I need to refine the colours to something that feels a little bit more me. Oh, I just smudged them. Whoops. That can happen. I'll go over that in a minute. Won't look too bad once I redefine the lines. You forget that these pens are like paint. They take a little while to dry. Putting another one in down here, but just taking a slightly different approach with it. Drawing in the straight lines first, so it'll be a bit more of an even flower. So I'm just going to finish this page off with a little bit of white line mark making. Just picking up on some of the dashes that I already have in the painting. It's a bit of a pattern explosion happening in this page. When you really dig into the details, there's a lot of layers to it. But I love paintings like that where you look and you realise that there's more going on than you might see in the first instance. So for this page, the first thing I'm going to do is just redefine some of these white lines because I lost them a bit in the process, and see how that looks. Brought in a couple of coloured pencils. I'm not sure whether these will write very well over the top of the acrylic, but I thought I would give it a try. I've changed my mind. I was going to use the pencil, but I picked up a Posca pen, which feels like it will work a lot better. You can put a pastel ground down or clear gesso, and that can really help with adding pencil over the top of surfaces that feel a bit too glossy, waxy. And I might just bring back some of these little lines that were there. I think that will do for that one. I absolutely love this green acrylic paint. It's the golden brand, and I think it's called Chromium Green or something. I'll see if I can leave a link for it, but it's really nice paint, and I actually just used it straight out of the tub. I like the way it works with some of the other colours. Finally, I want to add some mark making onto this spread. I might have a look at this page for some inspiration. I might bring in a bit of this diamond pattern. I think I said diamond, I meant triangle pattern. Yeah. With this triangular pattern, I really like to combine larger triangles with little ones just to make it a little bit more interesting, rather than keeping them all the same size. The black works really nicely with this particular page because it's already got some dark Payne's grey, or maybe it's even black ink in here, so the black gives it a nice cohesive feeling. So the approach that I used with creating the base layer for this painting is an approach that I share in the very first online class that I made, the melting pot. And it involves putting splotches of colour down and then tilting the page to get some drips. So you can see these little drippy shapes. And in the melting pot class, we turn them into little trees, but I wanted to keep this spread a bit more on the abstract side. But it's a similar technique. That's one of the great things about making art, is you can always find a variation on something. Take an idea and give it a little bit of a different spin. I remember there was a phase there where I was so into this kind of colour palette. There's shimmers of gold in it and pink and brown and hints of black, and yeah, I was really into it. Not so much these days, but it gives me a little bit of nostalgia. I definitely painted a few larger abstract paintings in this colour palette, and almost a little bit in this style actually. That's going back quite a few years though. I'm just adding in some Posca pen dots here using the beige colour. Years ago I did a painting like this. The circles were arranged in a little bit more of an ordered pattern, evenly spaced, and then I put all sorts of different marks and patterns into the circles, but it was a very neutral palette, so Payne's grey, a little bit of coffee I think I used, and I used to have it in my print shop, and it was one of my best-selling prints. So as I said before, I'm feeling quite nostalgic working on this page because I used to create paintings like this quite a bit. I'm just putting some very little dots using a black Posca pen. So I feel like I need a little bit of the lighter colour on this page, so I'm going to finish off with some mark making using that beige Posca pen again. So I've picked up this Polychromos pencil in Cinnamon. It's a lovely colour. I use this pencil all the time. And I'm just adding in a little bit more mark making over here with the pencil, just to get, again, another little texture. It's very subtle, but just to bring in a little bit more pencil and mixed media. Keep smudging things today. A few more of those little black dots. This is one of those processes where you just want to keep going. Keep adding more, but it's nice to preserve a little bit of white space as well. Keep things feeling calming. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave this page. So my eye's moving quite nicely around this page, and it feels like a good place to let it breathe. If you are interested in learning about some of these techniques, as I mentioned before, I have a free taster course for my Modern Mixed Media course. So the free taster course will give you a little bit of an insight into this process. You'll actually see this lesson and you'll see this lesson. But you can apply the techniques that I share in the free course to create all sorts of paintings. And then in the Modern Mixed Media course, we take that to a whole nother level and get out of the sketchbook onto other substrates, and also go deeper into topics around simplifying your art, composition, color mixing, bringing in personal inspiration, all sorts in that course. So this is really just the beginning point. We start with creating mood boards and sketchbook spreads, and then we move into full painting projects. And the projects that I share in Modern Mixed Media, it's really taking you into my signature style of painting that I have used to create art that I mainly use in art licensing. So it gives you a lot of inspiration and ideas around how you can make art that can be used in many different applications. And we talk about photography, varnishing, framing. It's a very comprehensive 6-week program. So I'm not quite sure when this video is coming out. I know the free course will be out. I'm not sure if the Modern Mixed Media course will be open, but if it's not open, it will be really close to being open, and I'll leave the links and everything you need to know in the description. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it provides you with some inspiration for your own mixed media art practice, and maybe it just makes you want to run to your sketchbook and get started with making some art without worrying too much about where it's all heading and getting hung up on perfectionism. Art is such a fun place to explore your own personal expression. So that's what I hope that you get from this video, and I hope that you'll tune in next time when I share another video for you.